On June 25, 1950, a war broke out between the Koreas when North Korean troops crossed the 38th parallel and invaded South Korea. The North Korean leader Kim Il-sung launched the attack once he had received a promise of support from the Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. The only reason that Stalin agreed is because in January of 1950, the U.S. Secretary of State delivered a speech in which he claimed that South Korea and Taiwan were not a part of the American defensive perimeter, which seemed to indicate that the U.S. would keep out of the Korean conflict. On June 27th, the Security Council asked the UN members to provide military assistance to help South Korea repel against the invasion. U.S. forces went into South Korea on June 30th, but by that time, North Korea had already taken the South Korean capital. On September 15th, the UN force landed at Incheon, and by the 29th, the UN troops had returned Seoul, the capital of South Korea, to the president. By the end of the year, the Chinese had intervened on behalf of the North Koreans, which halted the UN's advances. An impact from the war took place in the 1990s. Starvation is estimated to be responsible for the death of more than 10% of the population. By the end of the 1990s, the public distribution system could only support 6% of the nation, although 62% of the population relied on it. The deteriorating social services and inadequate food distributions that came after the war from the government public distribution system can be cited as the cause of mass starvation in North Korea of the 1990s. Although many North Koreans are struggling with starvation, North Korea spends most of its money on their military and nuclear weapon programs. In October of 2002, when confronted by the Bush administration, North Korea admitted that it had been conducting a nuclear program. By 2006, North Korea said it had set off its first nuclear test, and in 2009, North Korea's official news agency announced that the country had successfully conducted its second nuclear test on, quote, a higher level in terms of explosive power and technology of its control. By December 2010, North Korea claimed to use technology that is more advanced than what Iran had struggled to for the next 2 decades to assemble. On December 2012, North Korea successfully launched a long-range rocket into orbit, provoking the Obama administration. And in 2013, North Korea confirmed that it had conducted a third nuclear test, and by the next year, North and South Korea were firing hundreds of artillery shells across the disputed western sea border. Our future prediction is that in the next 10 years, the Koreas will still be in a stalemate with each other. The U.S. will still provide support and aid for South Korea to keep them out of harm's way with North Korea and their nukes, and the U.S. will still be giving money away that we don't have. Around this time, North Korea will have made their nuclear missile that will be able to hit the United States and will probably be threatening us with it, resulting in the Third World War.
Dennis Rodman would no longer be friends with Kim Jong-un.